But let's look at it a different way. What if the WNBA was to start from scratch right now? All the players are in a pool, and everyone, we're going to draft all new teams. Number one pick, you got the number one pick. Who are you taking?
Uh, to me, simple, easy question to answer. Asia Wilson. I think, I mean, watching her, like she's almost unstoppable. And I think, again, I bring back the point of like, it's a little bit of a throwback game. So having the most dominant player on the floor, post player who can give you, she scores all over the floor, 15 feet and in easy. And she controls the glass. And she's a defensive like stopper.
Yeah.
I think she's leading the league, maybe close to blocks. So I think those three things elevates her. If I had to start a team right now, well, I'm going Asia Wilson.
I would lean more towards Caitlin Clark just because I think the point guard position is probably the most important position on the floor. And when you've got a point guard like her who's so much better than everybody else, I would probably lean towards her. If I was going to build a team around somebody, I'd want to be only because of how good she is. I'm not saying you have to build a team around a point guard, but I do think it is, pretty much probably the most important position. And when you have such an elite player like her at point, I would build my team around her. A lot of it has to do with just her ability to find people and put them in good positions to score. So I'd probably go number one pick. I'd probably go Caitlin Clark, and if not Caitlin Clark, then yeah, I would go Asia Wilson.
Don't try to backtrack and say talk about my girl Asia. I think when you can throw it inside and
I was just saying
you can throw it inside and create double teams. Like I think that's like she could end up like if she ever wanted to probably. I don't know what her assist average is now, but like you have to double team her, otherwise she's going to
score.
She's going to go out and get 30, 35.
I think it's still debatable. Is Caitlin Clark? I mean, you could argue that she's the best player in the league. You could argue that she's the second best player behind Asia Wilson. In my opinion, she's definitely one or two.
I think as we talk about this more, I get a little more worried than I think about. She's obviously changed the game, like not only the basketball and the way it's played for the viewer, but obviously just the viewership and the fans and all that. But I think if you were trying to really build a team that was going to go win, is her defensive liability too much? I think the turnover stuff will come with some age. Obviously, we still have to remember she is a rookie, and she's having one of the, if not one of, if not the most outstanding rookie season for a WNBA player. And obviously, that's always tough to tell now because they do play more games than they did, I think, back when Candace Parker won the Rookie of the Year and the MVP. Yeah, so I obviously I don't think you could go wrong with either one, right? Both of them are going to have still outstanding long careers. I just think sometimes it's easier if you can almost just how dominant a post player was 10 years ago in the WNBA, 15 years ago. I think that's where the game is still a little different in the women's side, and I think a dominant post player still gives you the ability to be really good no matter what.
We brought up the turnover thing with Caitlin Clark. Obviously, way too many turnovers. Some of them certainly are silly, but she does take a lot of risks. And I think the rewards outweigh the risk on a lot of those passes. She also has a couple here, there too, where she hits her teammate right in the hands and they fumble it out of bounds. So she probably, I think her turnover number is a little bit more inflated than what maybe is realistic. And then the other thing too is she's averaging 8-9 assists a game, and she's got a couple every game where she'll have an easy assist where her teammate will miss the layup. So, I mean, she could literally be averaging a double-double as well with assists.
But I also think that comes. I'm going to be devil's advocate in the sense that Kelsey Mitchell and Boston have probably Kelsey makes some tough shots, which probably allows Caitlin to get one or two assists tonight that maybe normally wouldn't count. And obviously, you can throw it into Boston once in a while. So, devil's advocate that it maybe weighs out, but I do think the most interesting part of all that might be on Caitlin's passes is you see some of the other Fever players attempting some of these other things where maybe they didn't do it at the beginning of the year, and I wonder how much some of that has rubbed off. They see some things or they try some things, and maybe it doesn't always go as planned.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it's kind of like evolved a little bit. Her passing has kind of like changed some of the other players' games.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because I've heard that too from other people that have watched a lot of the Fever games too. They mentioned that as well. Last thing, the crazy thing too is think back a year ago. Could you ever imagine a year later we'd be sitting here talking so much WNBA basketball?
Probably not, but I will say, like, I had the opportunity last year to watch Paige Beckers play and Caitlin Clark play, and both times, and I was kind of like almost amazed at how good the basketball was. So, yes, I definitely didn't think we'd be talking about it 8 months later as much as we are. But I'll tell you, I mean, it's interesting to watch because I think even for from a coaching standpoint, it's the same game, but it's definitely got some twists and they do some things differently. And again, as it grows, I think you start to watch some other games, you'll see some of those differences even more pronounced. Because I don't know if the Fever, they do some things differently defensively that I question, but I think overall it's interesting to watch because it's something different, but it's still basketball, which we love.